presence near, your voice is loud, it's crystal clear. Kiwi dreams and hopes collide. Choose the ones who stand with pride. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. The future's written in your hand. The chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. Fortune in your hand, a chance to guide and take a stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In this moment, powers redefined. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. From hills to shores, every voice will soar.
And good afternoon, everybody. These two candidates here are vying to get my dad's vote on who's going to be the next mayor of the Horowhenua District Council. But with every election, there's one thing stepping in their way, and that's your vote. And good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to It's in the Ballot for the Horowhenua District Council mayoral race. We've got two fantastic candidates here in the studio, and let's kick it off. Justin, you get to kick off first with your opening statement of why you should be getting that tick from the Horowhenua voters.
Good afternoon, everybody. He me nei kia koutou. It's a privilege to be here today and to be amongst you live here on It's in the Ballot. Why should you vote for me today? I'm here, I'm local, I'm bred here, and I understand the dynamics of our district and I understand the needs of our district. I'm very aware that there's a cost of living crisis going on out there, and our council can facilitate a better way to help our residents and our community to understand and help them with those cost of living crisis. We are in a state right now where our district is growing. Our infrastructure needs upgrading critically, and we also have a whole lot of economic opportunities on our doorstep, but we also need to protect and preserve what we have here in our district. We're known nationally as a food growing basket. We're known as a key growth area. With Otua now on our doorstep, the opportunities are live, the opportunities are real. I want your vote because I believe I can lead us into the future for Horowhenua. I believe that I can help us to grow and maintain those things that we want to see preserved in our district. We have a lot to do.
Okay, next up, Bernie.
Good afternoon, everyone. Look, I just firstly want to pay respects to my opponent. It's great that in this democratic process, there's a couple of us vying for this role, and that voters do have a choice. Look, I'm currently the mayor, have been for 6 years. Privilege and honour to be in that role. And I have been, I suppose I'm now one of the longest serving councillors that's sitting around the table. I believe that I offer that stability and balance and continuity that this district badly needs for the next 3 years. The reality is that local government is in a crisis at the moment, and we need to ensure that Horowhenua is in the best place to be able to face the challenges that are coming to us. Besides all the things that Justin mentioned, I think there's a massive coming of government reform to us, and we need to ensure that we've got that experience and that balance and stability to continue the right way. Cheers.
Okay, so we're going to do a few things a little bit differently today because we only got 2 opponents. We're going to get each candidate one by one pick a box number, but both of them will answer the question to the box. So what means we don't need to give them extra button cards to button with their answers in case they want to put that in anyway. So we get a bit of a slight way of calling it. We'll treat it similar to like hard-hitting questions. So Benny, you get to go first. What box number between 1 and 28?
13.
13, no problem. Let's see what's in box number 13. And we have B for Bravo. How would you strengthen relationship with central government and neighbouring councils for the best outcome for Horowhenua?
Look, I'm pretty happy with where we sit in Horowhenua's reputation. When I got into this role, Horowhenua's reputation was in tatters. No government minister or anyone wanted to come and see us. I did a heck of a lot in that first term to strengthen our relationships, and have continued to do that through this last term. I currently chair the Mayoral Forum for Horizons. I have excellent relationships with my colleagues throughout the Horizons district. I'm also working with some of the Wellington mayors as well in terms of the Wellington Regional Leadership Group. And also I have good relationships with both ministers as Minister of Local Government and Transport, and which have been really helpful in terms of getting Horowhenua much more space than it ever used to get before. So relationships are really, really important when it comes to those big projects.
Okay, Justin.
Kia ora. Yeah, I firstly want to acknowledge Mayor Wandin as well. A great person to be campaigning against, but in this regard, I'm probably a little bit different. Although we need to continue to maintain and have strong relationships with central government, I stand by the fact that we need to have actually strong local voice and strong local priorities. And in that regard, the government will always determine or dictate to us as local government how they see the world. And we have to, under legislation and under law, usually oblige to many of those things that government want from us. But I actually turn the table and say, well, how will government support this district going forward? Because too often I feel the government put things on us as a local council, as a local authority, that actually we don't have the capacity or the resourcing to be able to actually fulfill. So I feel at times we're set up. So yes, relationships are really important with central government, but actually I'll be standing by the side of localism and that they need to hear us first and then we work together. In terms of other councils, that's a work in progress, but we're doing well.
Okay, Justin, what box number would you like?
22.
22. Thanks for choosing my birthday. Okay, we have F for Foxton. With respect to large capital projects, is it more important to support local contractors or to focus on getting the best value for ratepayers? Yep.
Oh, kia ora. Thanks, Sam. Look, a really interesting project. I think there's a balance that's required in this regard. I would always stand on the side of localism and supporting local business, but I'm also very realistic that there are at times that we can't actually fulfill what we need locally, because sometimes we don't have the necessary resourcing capacity or even expertise in the area that we require. And there's also times as well when we need to draw on external expertise and partner with people that actually aren't from here to get the best outcome for our community. So while I'll always advocate that local business must come first and there must be ways of partnering and bringing them along and supporting our local businesses, I'm also very aware that we also need to look externally at times to deliver what's actually needed here and give our community value for every dollar that they contribute as ratepayers.
Okay, Bernie.
Look, getting the best value for ratepayers is obviously paramount these days, and local contractors have equal opportunity, I believe, to be able to tender for those large capital projects. And as Justin says, some of them can do it, some of them can't. It depends on the project. What is, I think, happened within the Horowhenua this term, though, has been a strengthened procurement process where we have governance and officers both being involved in terms of what tender is accepted by different companies that do it. Take, for instance, our latest major infrastructure project is the wastewater treatment plant. We had 14 companies tender for that project, local and outside the area. And so we're getting really good opportunity to ensure that we're getting really good value for both price and quality of work. And that procurement strategy does include a percentage that we allocate to making sure that we do some local work here. Really important that we continue that.
Okay, Bernie, what box number?
17.
17. Okay, we got C for Charlie. There we are. Finally, it's ticked over. While the government is proposing to define Core Services Council through the Local Government Systems Improvement Bill, what do you consider a core and non-core service?
Yeah, look, that's a really interesting question at the moment, isn't it? You could say that everything that council does is core because it impacts on our community. And people will have different views in terms of what is core and not core. Obviously, water delivery, rubbish, roads, parks, they are always considered to be core. But is economic development core? Is the provision of dog control core? Is the provision of libraries and community facilities for sport, is that core? So there's a heck of a lot to go in terms of what is core and not core. And it will be really interesting to see how the government actually define some of those things, because it's a very, very hard thing to do, because in some communities there will be core, in other communities it may not be. So I don't think one size fits all in this space, to be honest.
Okay, Justin.
Yeah, kia ora, guys. Very similar to Bernie. Look, core services for me are absolutely the basics that every household relies on. It's your water, it's your wastewater, it's your stormwater, it's your roading and your flood protection. Non-core include discretionary projects and amenities. Council must prioritise all core works and streams before we're spending on the extras. And while Bernie suggests, and he's correct, that council there are expectations on council that we must deliver everything to our community. But I think there are many times that we lean into things that actually aren't our core service. We're actually uplifting services that belong to other departments. We're not a social delivery system. We're not a treaty settlement body either. We actually need to stick to those core things that are actually going to deliver the needs, give resilience to our community, give them assurance that when they turn the tap on, it's working, they can drink the water, ensure that the footpaths are in a state that every member of our community can walk down the street safely. Those are the cores for me.
Okay, Justin, what box number?
Let's go. 27.
27, no problem.
I didn't check the box numbers, sorry.
Oh, that's 1 to 28. It's all right. You've got at least you can probably see them from here. Bernie's a little bit harder. Okay. What's it called? We got P for Papa, because I can't think of how to say any local names correctly. I like that one. Beyond finance, what do you see as council's biggest overall risk, and how would you deal with it, Justin?
Kia ora for the question. I think there's a lot of risks out there, but I think for me, probably the biggest risk to the organisation is the trust of our community in us to be good leaders, to trust that we're going to make good decisions with them at the forefront of those decisions. Without transparency and engagement, people disengage. I'll restore trust by meeting the community where they want me to meet them. I want to be open with them and acting with integrity. And I think that's probably the key that we need to work on as an organisation. We need to encourage all parts of our community to actually participate in local elections. You know, we need our elderly to be knowing what's going on, and we need our young people, our succession plan for the future of this district, to get involved and understand that they can set the direction. They are the focus. Ka pūtaruha ka haotarangatahi. They are our future, and we need to grasp them, grow them, nurture them, and create a space for them. Kia ora.
Okay, Benny.
Look, as Justin said, there's lots of risks ahead. For me, I think the greatest risk is actually the lack of trust and confidence between central government and local government. Local government is in a crossroads at the moment in terms of where we go and what happens. Evidenced by the amount of reform that's coming down from central government in the way of systems improvements bill, rates capping, all those sorts of things. It gives the real impression that central government doesn't trust us. They have no confidence in our ability to deliver. And I think that presents a real risk to the future and of localism and what happens to us as districts. I sincerely believe that with this amount of government reform and us not being able to deliver specifically for our communities, then we're going to be in real trouble. And as I said before, one size doesn't fit all. How they can actually take us out of that equation, I think, is a real risk.
Okay, Benny, what box number?
6.
6. So we've got, was it letter AB for the All Blacks? Yep. Do you support council policy on iwi's right of refusal for the disposal of surplus property? How do you believe this promotes fairness?
Yeah, look, obviously a topic of much discussion, and I did support this policy. I do believe that it is exactly what we've been doing anyway, and in some ways this actually improves the whole question of whether iwi hapu get first right of refusal on property. They obviously have some historical interest in much of that surplus property in terms of going back hundreds of years. And we're talking about surplus council property. So it's non-core, it is not core. So we are absolutely saying that we need to divest ourselves of this property and try to return that investment into reducing debt or being used for other projects. And I have no problem with actually giving iwi hapu first a month, and that's all it is, that first right, if they display an interest in that property, for them to be able to say, yes, we have an interest, but also to obviously make it at market price.
Okay, Justin.
Kia ora for the question. Really simple for me. Yes, absolutely. I stand by the decision and support the decision that me and many fellow councillors made. While maybe not unanimous, I think it was a decision that was really important for us and the relationships that we need to encourage and maintain with our local iwi community, our local hapu community. As Bernie said, there is a long-standing history here within the Horowhenua of disconnection, of loss of land, of loss of opportunity, and I think the council have an obligation to ensure that those opportunities are provided to iwi. I think the myth in this is that people felt like it was a token gesture, that it was going to be handed to iwi or hapu for $1. It's very clear in the policy that it was a standardised process, that everyone was afforded the same opportunity, and you had to, of course, apply and express your interest, and you would pay market rate for a property. So have we done the right thing there? 100% we have. And I hope iwi one day take up that opportunity and we actually endorse and follow the policy that we actually adopted.
Thank you for that. I've certainly learnt things from that one, because I do remember when that made a bit of a controversy from Wellington, and I'm thinking, like, are people just getting the wrong end of the stick? And I'm glad it's been set right. Yeah. Justin, what box number?
Let's go number 7.
Go number 7, not a problem.
Something about 7s.
It's all good. Okay, we got V for Victor. Come on. How will you advocate to secure the best outcome for the district for the, was it O2NL, in brackets, Otaki to North of Levin Expressway project, including the transfer of the old state highway to council ownership?
For those that don't know, I've been involved with O2NL since its inception. I've always advocated for the expressway to be commissioned and made real. And I'm really grateful that the governments have honoured that obligation to construct O2NL. I think that through the O2NL process, the district have probably already seen some great outcomes and some great wins, and there's many more to come, I'm sure. I think one of the greatest things we need to watch going forward, though, is not just those opportunities that are coming and the workforce that are going to be coming into the district, the amount of subcontract work that potentially will be picked up by local contractors, but the revocation process is really important between HDC and Waka Kotahi. Revocation is the part where we negotiate about the old roads that will be coming across into the district's hands to be managed into the future, and we need to ensure that that revocation is satisfactory to the needs of our community, and that they pay their way and ensure they give us good assets that our district can continue to use.
And Bernie?
Look, I'm a retailer on the main street of Oxford Street, State Highway 1. So for the last 40 years, I've seen that road become far more congested, unsafe, and basically traffic has overtaken our main street. For many years, I fought against any bypass or expressway around this town. But I've come to realise over the last, since I've been in council, that if we want our town back, we have to have O2NL built for us. What I'm happy about is the fact that we are building an expressway that will be fit for purpose, will actually provide huge benefits to the wider country as well as just for us. I see some real value in it. Revocation is going to go on for years. And while it is important, we know that we've had one of the most dangerous and worst pieces of road in the country. So it's about time we had some investment put back into it.
And just want to do a cheeky supplementary on that. You're not going to make sure what happened to the Tararua District Council with Route 52, not going to end up having it like that road where it's like, yep, it's yours, that's it. And 30 years down the track, it's falling to bits with no money to really do anything decent.
Yeah, the challenge will be the money. Because, you know, this project O2NL is over $2 billion. And then they're going to have to, that should include revocation money as well. So, yeah, look, it's going to be a challenge, and it probably will last a heck of a lot longer than just the next term.
Yeah. Do you want to add anything, Justin?
Yeah, I think that it's really important how you negotiate with Waka Kotahi, because my opinion is I don't really want assets given back to the district if they're not fit for purpose. We've seen that happen to us before. Whirakino Bridge is a great example where NZTA stopped the maintenance project work on that bridge and then tried to hand it back to the district. And so I'm not satisfied unless absolutely what we're getting back is sufficient and it's actually resourced to be maintained to a particular spec that we need for our users.
Yeah. Okay, Bernie. 11, no problem. Okay, we got Q for Queen. What qualities do you believe are most important in a mayor, and how will you demonstrate them?
Look, I hope I've been demonstrating those for the last 6 years, to be honest. But I think what I've learned in this role is that you need to be genuine, you need to be authentic, you need to be present, you need to be available, you need to listen carefully. You almost play a mediator, builder of consensus role than you do, in fact, of not having some really strong personal opinions, because one of the roles that you have to do is to try and corral those other 12 people around the table to try and come to good decisions. And sometimes that means that you sacrifice your own decisions and opinions and views in terms of making sure that the decision that you're coming to is in the best interest of the district. Building strong and positive relationships is obviously a key factor that you need to have as a mayor, and I think I've done that pretty well.
Okay, Justin.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Really good question, and I support a lot of what Bernie said too. Authentic is absolutely one of them, but so is integrity, accountability, transparency, empathy, and courage. And I use the word courage strongly because if you're not willing to stand up for your community, if you're not willing to stand up in what you believe, then I don't believe you're the type of leader we want. I'm actually not at the table to make friends. I'm at the table to make decisions that are best for my community. I won't compromise my values or my principles for anybody. And I have to work hard at times, as anyone knows, around the table to encourage other fellow elected members to vote in your way. I don't always get my way, but again, I'm happy to take a loss at a loss, and I'm happy to celebrate a win as a win. But a win is for the community, and I'm absolutely clear that that's who I stand for and that's who I represent. I will demonstrate these things by being accessible to our community. I'll be consistent, I'll turn up, and I'll be there to make those hard decisions when they have to be made.
Okay, Justin, what box number?
Oh, number 9.
Number 9.
We're running out of boxes?
Oh, we've got a little while to go. And feel free to use Te Reo Māori. I do know my numbers part quite well. Okay, we got D for Delta. Do you support rate capping? If so, should it apply to both core services and non-core services? If not, why not?
Yeah, thanks for the question. This is quite a controversial one. We know that there's both sides to this, but I'm actually in support of rate capping. I actually believe that it should be managed. It certainly shouldn't be. We shouldn't keep putting the rates up as we are. And while some people think that the rates that they've been getting hit with are hard, they actually could have been much harder. There's been a lot of work around the table to actually, with our team, with our CEO, to find those efficiencies that we need in the organisation, so that we're not passing on those full rate impacts as what they could have been. So I think that we should apply to both the core and the non-core services, with council ensuring efficiencies before reaching ratepayers' pockets. I'm really concerned that we keep debt funding matters. I don't believe in that. I was raised to spend what you can afford to spend, and for me, that's part of getting back to the basics. Live within your means.
Okay, Benny.
Look, in principle, yes, I do agree with rates capping, but I do think that there will be unintended consequences from imposing a policy like this. And we've seen that for those states in Australia that have got rates capping, there's been underinvestment. It has meant that, there's a view that they have not actually spent the money on the core projects like they should have. So while I support rates capping, I do believe it should only be for non-core issues and projects, because often those projects that are core need that investment. We've got a huge underinvestment in this country for many, many millions of dollars. All our treatment plants and water treatment plants are now ending their life history, and we need to actually reinvest significantly of those. And what happens when our costs aren't met by, say, if power goes up more than that rates capping amount. So a huge detail to come on this space, I think.
Sorry?
I'd love to expand on it.
All right, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Look, I think, to be honest, that council and previous councils actually have to own a lot of the situation that we're in. I'm sorry. Regardless of the reforms, regardless of government directives, regardless of all those other things going on, previous councils had made decisions to defer works. Previous councils did not pay their way. Previous councils spent money in other areas that I would consider are not core issues that we needed to see. We continued to fund projects that we knew we didn't have the capacity or the ongoing revenue to support those, and yet we've still done them. And that's why this district have a serious debt bill right now, and it's not looking rosy for the future either. With the loss of water assets, with local waters done well, our ratepayers are now looking at 3 bills a year instead of 2, and that concerns me.
I think this highlights again the fundamental problem that we have in local government, where the system we have at the moment is broken. We need a complete overhaul about how local government is funding, and I believe that imposition from government in terms of policies like rates capping aren't going to solve it at all. We actually need to actually sit down and rethink how local government should be delivered, how it's funded, and until that happens, ad hoc policies like this that are knee-jerk to me, I don't think are going to be actually solve the problem we've got in front of us.
I want to ask a supplementary to that. If with rates capping, some people think they want to cap the revenue completely. Some people go, I'd rather you build more houses or more customers to help put into the system. Should the more customer access be treated, should that revenue be allowed to trickle in, or should that be applied with the rates cap of the total revenue?
Yeah, see, that's the sort of detail that we've gotten really no idea what will happen. And again, this policy is being done to us. It's not being done with us. And that's why I think there needs to be a genuine sit down and try to refresh and reimagine what local government should be delivering. And all those sorts of things should come into it.
I really can't add much more than what Mayor Bernie has, to be honest. I agree with him. There's not enough information out there for us to actually be able to give informed decisions. But it is really quite clear that this government are actually asking us to execute something that we don't have the full knowledge about what we're being asked to execute. And again, I think the community should have the opportunity to talk about this too. I don't think it's just for council to be able to sit around a table and make a decision of such significance. People have to understand what rates capping is, whether it's core, non-core, and they actually have to understand what the impact and the effect of such a decision would be. And again, what's the expectation on our community? We can only deliver so much within a budget. What are they willing to sacrifice in order for us to give them what they actually want to see delivered in our community?
Okay, and I think, Bernie, I think you've got the next box number.
21.
21. Ah, yes. What used to be the voting age in New Zealand at one point in time? My grandma was first time voted in 1949, which is a significant year in New Zealand history, where we got our first wahine as Māori MP in Parliament, Iri Akaratana. Yes, for Western Māori, who would have represented the same area. Yeah. Yeah, and the only widow to make a career as a politician. Yeah. Okay, so we got T for Tango. Do you think council should expand or reduce its role in social and community services?
Look, again, this will be determined by what government decides is core and non-core, but I'm particularly proud of what Horowhenua has done over the last 15 years or so in terms of its community wellbeing committee. We've actually often the role that a lot of councils are envious in terms of that committee that we have got, which is full of agencies that come together every few months and talk about the issues that the community is facing. And while council won't be able to decide things, they can enable, they can facilitate, they can understand what is going on in the community. And I'm often told, as chair of that Community Wellbeing Committee, that many other councils are envious of our ability to be able to bring the agencies together and to understand what is going on. And I think it can inform decision making across the table later on.
Okay.
Yeah, like Bernie too, I think Horowhenua District Council have done an incredible job really in being the enabler for many of our parts of our community and community groups. You know, I think council should continue to partner with our local iwi and hapu community organisations and central government and not duplicate roles. I think there's too much duplication that goes on across the various organisations. They're all delivering the same thing with a different budget line, siloed quite often. I think the best value is when we're actually sitting down together, we're strategically thinking about what we need here in the Horowhenua, and we're actually aligning ourselves so that we're getting the best value of the money that each of those organisations have to deliver. But I'm also going to say, like I said earlier, we're not here to replace social services. We're not here to replace health organisations and health services. I know what our core intent is, and I know what we need to deliver to our community, but I also know those nice to have things are good to have too if you can afford them.
Okay, Justin, what box number?
14.
14, no problem. Okay, we got W for Waitadere. What experience or skills do you bring to ensure sound financial governance and decision making?
It's a really good question because I don't attest to being a financial whiz at all. I think for me personally, I just bring the humble, locally bred, raised guy that started in kindergarten, made my way through primary, secondary school, and I've worked across my landscape in various roles and have learned and gained a lot of knowledge and experience through the various roles I've had. I bring governance experience. I've been involved in governance now for some 25 years. I've been in community leadership for a long time, and many of the boards and committees and that I'm a part of, financial diligence is absolutely appropriate. And I have enough understanding to know when we're in profit and when we're in debt. And I also understand well enough budget lines to know when we're actually doing the right things and we're actually sticking to what we say we're going to do and we're getting those outcomes and deliverables. I also know that there's times when we say we're going to do stuff and we don't. And that's not the type of leadership that I want to see going forward. I want leadership that actually deliver on what they say.
Okay, Bernie.
Look, I've been fortunate to have had many, many years of governance and leadership experience in many roles. Obviously, my 9 years on council has given me a huge insight into how councils run. I've had 40 plus years as a retailer in the main street, so I understand the ups and downs of business in different economic times, and have seen many things that have helped me actually make good decisions for the future of this district, because that's what it's about. Ultimately, it is about what is best in the best interests of this community long term, not just about today. So having a reasonable financial background, but more importantly, a care about what happens in the community, because it's not just finance, it's not just leadership, it's understanding what your community is. And I've been fortunate to be able to have that experience standing behind a counter and then in my various governance roles, which include a wide variety of different things that I've done.
Okay, Bernie, what box number?
8.
8. No problem. Okay, we got K for Kopatara. When I find K on the thing there. When do you see the future of the Levin closed land? No, sorry, read that wrong. What do you see for the future of the Levin closed landfill site? Should it be used for revenue generating or community purposes?
Look, the closure of the landfill was probably one of the most contentious decisions that council has made over the last decade. And I was part of that. It was a long, complex situation with many conflicting and tensions around whether we should close it or not. Ultimately, though, the council still has significant debt on that landfill. We have aftercare costs that are going to keep us going for the next decades. So it's a significant cost to current ratepayers and future ratepayers. So yes, I do believe that there should be some sort of revenue gathering project at the landfill, but obviously it has to fit in with all those economic, those environmental and those social different sort of aspects of a project. It can't just be reopening the landfill again, but it is going to be difficult, whatever we do.
Okay, Justin.
Yeah, very contentious topic actually, and pretty hot on the radar right now. But I suppose, like Bernie, the landfill's closed. A decision that this council made, and I'm glad they made the decision. I am an ex-Hokio resident. I understand the area, the stream, the impact, and the state that the stream is in today, and also Punahou, the lake. Look, the landfill should absolutely be remediated. We need to explore opportunities for the community to use that space. So while it is going through a phase of closure, and as Bernie's right, there's aftercare that's going to take many, many years to manage that property, but we can't just do it with it sitting there idle. It needs to find a way of being repurposed, being reutilized, whether that's creating a solar opportunity, whether it's ecological restoration, whether it's creating a green space, but it shouldn't be a future liability that the entire district have to continue to look after when actually previous councils did not look after the site well. They didn't acknowledge that there were issues going on and the impacts being felt real today.
As also a former Hokio resident, how close to Mayoral Terrace did you live?
I live straight below, down in the hollow, in that little wee flat.
Because my dad's house is up the top there, and it's been up across the road from Paul Pirana's place.
Oh, plate.
Yeah. So yeah, I was like going like, oh heck, because I did have a bit of time living out at the beach. Yes, do miss it. But the only thing I don't miss was the poor cell phone coverage and the lack of fibre optic broadband. But well, I don't think we had fibre at the time, because I know when I was in Hokio Sands Road, we just got ADSL. Yeah. And it was only just in there, like a kilometre down the road, we wouldn't have it.
Well, I ended up there because my dad was a teacher at Hokio School, the boys' home, when it was open, and so I ended up living there for 18 years. So, and my wife's family are very well entrenched out that area too. So,
oh, heck, it is a small world. It's a small world. Justin, what box number?
Let's go with 23.
23. Okay, we got X for X-ray. How would you balance operational and capital investment in community facilities such as libraries, pools, and sports grounds with the need to keep rates affordable? X for X-ray.
It's not the one X we've got.
Oh, okay. What does your X one have?
We've done that.
What qualities do you believe are the most important in a mayor, and how will you demonstrate them?
So what's the question you asked?
The question that I had is in the X slide was, how would you balance operational and capital investment in community facilities such as libraries, pools, sports grounds, and with the need to keep rates affordable? Okay.
I don't think we have, but happy to give it a go, crack if you want us to.
Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, yeah, this is what Helen does. Helen's been doing the questions, so that would and I'm wondering if it possibly might have been one that might have been slipped in between when Helen did the questions and Stacey did the graphics. But yeah, I don't know, comfortable to answer it or?
Yeah, look, this is a challenge, and Council's been doing a lot of work this term. In fact, just recently, I'm building a framework that we can actually use to decide whether sports facilities, libraries, and other community facilities, how we would actually invest in those cost effectively, and whether, how far should council be invested in those? Because it is a challenge. Are these core services? And if we actually applied the correct costs for what they, for ratepayers to actually enter those facilities, we'd probably not use them because they would be too expensive to run. So how far does council go in terms of providing these facilities? Because ultimately they are, I believe, a core function of council, and we need them badly, because this place is a fine example of the difference that it made to this district in terms of what it provides, almost a meeting point for the whole district, and we've got other examples that are around. So yes, I do believe it's a balance, but we are working towards providing that balance.
Do you want to add anything to that?
No, I actually agree with what Bernie said, and it is a balance. It is a fine line, but again, you have to keep to your priorities and what you can actually deliver on. Yes, there are a whole lot of assessments and things that we use as tools in council, and as Bernie's alluded to, the use of our sports and recreational areas is a really good process to go through, because one, we need to understand what we've got, we need to understand what it takes to maintain them, but actually one of the things we don't talk a lot about is the cost for the people that use those facilities. Quite often people don't realize that ratepayers are actually offsetting the actual cost to facilitate many of our sports grounds and many of our areas, even like here in Te Takeretanga. So I think unless you've got a real key strategy on how places like this can continue to be supported in the future, because if you look at libraries in the ever-changing world of technology, we're actually seeing that less people are reading books. A lot of people are using technology. So how do we adjust such an operations to still be there to provide a space and a place for our community to meet and gather, to be a hub? But maybe the core service may not be library. Maybe in the future it's going to be something different. But certainly council and ratepayers can't continue to maintain, I believe, these types of operations without actually some external help and some partnering that needs to happen with good people.
Okay. Now, that was your box number, Justin, or Bernie's just? Yep. So Bernie, what box number?
Is it? So let's go number 1.
Number 1. Okay, we got H for hotel. What current council projects, planned or underway, do you think is the most transformational, and why? What projects would you cancel or change?
Look, we've got a couple of, I think, transformational projects in front of us. One obviously is O2NL, which we've already talked about. But I think the other transformational project that we've got in front of us is our water storage project up the back of Gladstone Road. Currently, every summer we have to have water restrictions because there's not enough flow in the river that enables us to take the amount of water that we need. This water storage facility will give us probably up to 50 days through the summer, as we are able to siphon off a lot of water at this time of the year when it's raining a lot more. So, yeah, look, I see that enabling us to be able to make sure that we handle our growth, to provide that capacity, to be able to sort of ensure that business and residential infill that comes to this town, and we'll be able to do it with confidence.
Justin.
Yeah, it's an interesting question, that one for me, because projects like O2NL are really important and transformational, but I also think there's hidden projects that people don't know, such as flood resilience, flood protection, stormwater projects that are actually really required here, particularly in a place like Levin, where we have Lake Punahou in the state that it is, and we need to find ways to do much better. When I think about the current upgrades that are planned for the Levin water waste treatment plant, I know it's really important, but it's not a project that I want to see honestly carried out to the potential that it is. I'm a believer in the plant doesn't belong on the banks of the lake. I believe that if you're going to spend $111 million on an upgrade on a facility that leaves it in the same place that actually causes the most harm to the lake, you want to have a pathway that goes around a lake. Who wants to walk past a wastewater treatment plant? So for me, I'd like to find alternative areas and sites, and we put that money, use our mouth, put the money where it is, and remove that plant and put it somewhere else.
Okay, Justin, what box number? 3. Okay, we got you for uniform. Do you support spending on the waste water system upgrades at Tokomaru, even if the costs are significant?
Yeah, thank you for the question. It's an interesting one because most people won't understand the dynamics of it. Small community still have a large need. Yeah, I actually totally believe that we should be doing those upgrades. I think we need to do it, but I think we need really strict oversight and clear communication. We need clean water. We need safe systems and ethos of this council. So we need to find ways to ensure that even those little parts of our community feel like the council are there supporting them, are there creating those upgrades, those essential services, the infrastructure that's required, because even those little places have aspirations. They want to develop, they want to grow. Many in that rural sector want to put cabins and homes and subdivide for their families, and we need to ensure actually that there is the infrastructure there to support that future development.
Okay, Bernie.
Again, a dilemma, isn't it? Is it cost effective to supply, the sort of standard of service that we really want to do? And I would hope that technology would enable us to be able to find a solution that is both cost effective and still upgrades what is, poor infrastructure. As Justin said, the villages of our district need or deserve as much looking after as the Levin and Foxton do. And Tokomaru is an area which has not necessarily had the best service from council over the years. And look, I do believe that they need that investment, but I think that significant cost. How much do you really need to go? And if the government are telling us that in law they're going to put in a policy that says everything has to be cost effective, how far do you go? And that's going to be the challenge.
Do they still have that system in Tokomaru where the dairy's the post office box for everyone?
Probably,
Yeah,
yes.
because I remember doing electoral roll work up there. Oh, back now this is going back quite some time ago, and there were no letterboxes, and that kind of caught me off guard. And I wonder if it's still like that now, because I mean that's was it as a point from like the postal service doesn't obviously think it's worthwhile having a letterbox out there. Yeah,
Shows how important the general store is.
yes. 10 minutes. Oh, you need So we'll do one last question. Bernie, you're the box number?
26.
26. Okay, we got G for golf. Even that, no. Do we still have the golf course out Hokio way?
Yes.
Is it just the Levin one?
No, not Hokio.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I remember we had we were sport with 2 golf courses at one stage. What do you see as council's largest financial risk, and how would you ensure it's mitigated?
Look, you could say everything's a financial risk these days. I think, though, that our biggest financial risk is not sticking to the plan that we have formulated over the last few years. For many years, we were not paying our way properly. We were then borrowing money to pay for our groceries. It increased debt. it meant that rates were artificially kept low. So a few years ago, we formulated a plan to ensure that ratepayers' money is spent wisely, that we started that pathway to funding depreciation properly and making sure that we were spending our money a lot more wisely. That plan is due to come to fruition in a couple of years. We'll be in a lot better space. So I think the financial risk is not sticking to that plan, because if we don't, in fact, it'll have massive repercussions later on in a few years' time when we can't afford to do anything.
Okay, Justin.
Yeah, there's many risks, I think. Council's biggest financial risk for me is probably overcommitting to debt-heavy projects. Without secure funding, I'd mitigate this by stricter oversight, transparent reporting, and ratepayer input. I think one of the issues we have here in our district is we don't understand asset and retain assets. This district don't have the luxury of having other income other than rate revenue. We need to find solutions actually that give us the ability to offset rates through actually real projects that are going to deliver outcomes. We can't continue to sell land and can't continue to sell what they deem as non-core property that actually did make returns or do give returns. No council that I know had a glass ball and they knew what was going on. Decisions were made at the time that were best for the time, but in the current regime, in the current day, there's probably quite a few things I would change that actually reprioritize where we need to get back to. Times have changed, and so has the budget.
Okay, we're going to take a quick 10-minute break, and then afterwards we'll be joined for hard-hitting questions.
Taking a pause, just a short little breather to stretch out your legs. You don't need a leader. The live stream will be back, so don't go too far. But for now, you can wander wherever you are. Intermissions aren't really a thing anymore, but we think it's a cool tradition to adore. A moment to breathe, have a laugh, maybe chat. There's magic in breaks. And we're keeping that. Head to the lobby, your kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on the dime. Head to the lobby, your kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. Get to the lobby, your kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. Head to the lobby, your kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. You don't need a leader. And we'll be back, so don't go too hard. But for now, you can wonder where you are. Intimates aren't really a thing anymore. We think they're cool, a tradition to adore. A moment to breathe, have a laugh, maybe chat. There's magic in breaks. We're keeping that. Head to the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on the dime. Head to the lobby, I'm in your kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe three. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. Head to the lobby, I'm in your kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe three. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. Head to the lobby, I'm in your kitchen with glee for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime.
Oh shit, don't panic, it's almost time to get that joke. The candidates, their legs been partying a break. They're still hard-hitting, closing statements and stuff to know. So grab snacks for their answers and precisions you need to. Oh, 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 oh. The candidates are stretched up. The candidates, their legs been partying a break. Oh, 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 oh. They're still hiding questions, closing and stuff you wanted.
The ballot's here, the moment's near. Your voice is loud, it's crystal clear. Keep your dreams stand. Community rising, hearts aligned. In this moment, power's redefined. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. It's in the ballot where we belong. Every vote builds a nation strong. Your council, your board, your mayor in line. Together we shape this land divine. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will open the door to brighter days and skies that shine. Our future's ours, it's yours and mine. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. It's in the ballot. From hills to shores, every voice will soar. Decisions made will open the door to brighter days and skies that shine. Our future's ours, it's yours and mine.
Okay, welcome back to It's in the Ballot. Now let's get ready for hard-hitting questions.
Hard-hitting questions. We don't get any good. What does a question? Because every candidate has answered the hard-hitting questions.
Okay, so let's get ready for hard-hitting question number one. With large-scale retirement villages already developed or planned with minimal impact on council infrastructure, do you intend to embrace and promote further such developments? Justin.
Yeah, thanks for the question. Yeah, this is an interesting one. It's another one about balance, to be honest. Look, I support balanced development. Retirement villages bring economic benefits. There's no doubt about that. But they must not overwhelm our infrastructure, and nor should they take priority over other needs we have in our district, meaning housing for families and young people. And so I think we need to find that balance. We need to ensure actually what is the priority and what is the greatest need. Levin is already renowned, Horowhenua is renowned as a retirement sector or retirement region. I don't actually agree with that. I just think that we've got prolific rest homes in one part of our area, and even in Foxton, there's a couple of rest homes over that way. But again, I think we've got homeless people in our landscape in our district, and we've also got underdeveloped Māori land and opportunity, some of the most impacted by the affordable issues we have in our district, and we should be looking at ways to unlock those opportunities.
Okay, Bernie.
Look, I don't believe we should actually embrace and promote this. I believe, though, that we need to ensure that we have created the environment that people actually do want to come and invest and develop their rest homes and other parts of businesses in our district. If we create the right environment for growth, they will come. And we know that with the infrastructure that we're building, with the road and what we're trying to manage in terms of things like the water storage, that we have the capacity to be able to handle that. So why not become the senior citizens town of New Zealand? I don't mind that at all, because they still are coming here and thinking that this place is right. And look, only today I've been talking to people who arrived from Wellington, 6 months ago. They think this place is fantastic, and we have brilliant lifestyle. So I believe that if by creating the right environment, those sorts of people will continue to come.
and I do believe the Otiki election, I'm not sure how it's going to work when the new electoral boundaries come in, but it was the electorate that had the most people over 65 living in it. And also a 99% enrolment rate. Yeah.
Yeah, look, we have 25% of our makeup of population is over 65. It's a bit higher than the rest of the country, but, it's not, I don't think it's too much out of proportion.
No. Yeah. I just wish the trains were a bit more frequent.
It's coming.
Yes. Darren has assured me of that one. Okay, let's get to hard-hitting question number 2. If money or consents weren't a constraint, what is the one big idea or project you'll push for the council to pursue, Bernie?
Yeah, look, this is a bit of a blue sky thinking on my part, but sure, a gondola up Trig would be fantastic, but I actually believe that we've got some, fantastic natural resources in this district that we could use a heck of a lot better. And in fact, if everything came came together really well, I believe that we could, down at the lake, create the Rotorua of the Lower North Island. Make it a really attractive place that's educational, tells the history, promotes the whole district really well, promotes the story of what happened here over many, many hundreds of years. And because I don't think we're actually using that asset as much as we'd like. I know it's unlikely to happen, but imagine cruise ships coming out of Wellington, the destination and economic benefits that could be there for all if we did something like that.
And Justin?
Yeah, another really interesting question for me. Look, I think for me, blue sky would be absolutely the restoration of Lake Horowhenua Punahou. I think this community have suffered too long, and we've lost out on so much opportunity by not having the taonga as in the state it should be. I think the opportunity, I said it the other night at a Meet the Candidates, around right now that Foxton Beach is the tourism hub of the Horowhenua, and I still stand by that. But I think we need to actually take on board the fact that Punahou has so much to offer to our district. Levin needs a core thing for people to come and see, and we don't have that right now. We're only known as a growth town and a retirement town, and while that's nice, it doesn't bring people here to spend money. Most of those people actually can't afford to spend their money locally or regionally, and so for me, restore Punahou, bring tourism to Levin, and support the wider tourism needs of the district, which will support our economy.
Okay, and now let's get on to hard-hitting question number 3. What is your position on retaining the Horowhenua Māori ward for Horowhenua District Council and Tonga Māori constituency for Horizons Regional Council, and why do you hold that position? Justin?
Thank you. Look, for anyone that doesn't know, I'm already a Māori ward councillor, and really proud to be alongside Councillor Hori Te Pā. I 100% support retention of Māori wards, and I hope those listening will tick the box in this upcoming referendum to support and maintain the wonderful contribution that they give to supporting what we as a district need, and quite often what we need operationally to get big projects over the line. I think that the value is not seen by our community. I almost feel like we're undersold in the representation that we have, and too often misleading information or misinformation is shared out there about the genuine support and responsibilities that we hold as Māori ward representatives. We are the only ones outside of the mayor that have to look after our district, and we have a very large constituency to look after, and many iwi and hapu, and even those that don't attest to being from here, we still have an obligation to look after their interests.
Okay, Bernie?
So I was part of the council that put Maori wards in. We did it unanimously. And again, part of the council that reinforced that decision last term or this term as well. I don't have a problem with Mary wards, and I think what Justin and Nina have done this term is, you know, it hasn't been that scary. I don't know what people are so afraid of by having that sort of representation, and I do believe that they have added value to our decision making that in the past, you know, wasn't there, and so I don't see them as any other than another councillor around the table. I believe that we all represent the district in the best way that we can, and I don't have an issue with that. My bigger issue is, in fact, how we break up our wards, how many councillors we actually have around the table. We have far too many for a district our size, and that's something that we're going to look at next term. But as far as Mary ward's concerned, I don't think this is a major issue.
Okay, now let's get to closing statements on why the Horowhenua people should give you then their tick to become mayor. Bernie.
Look, as I said earlier, it's been a real privilege and an honour to be the mayor for the last 6 years. And in some ways, you know, I had thought about not wanting to do this role again because it's a huge sacrifice. But I am committed. I care about this community so much that I want to see it prosper and do well. I think with the amount of change and what policies coming from central government being forced upon us, I think it is vital that we continue that stability, that balance, provide that experience around the table that is going to be so much needed. People tell me I've done a reasonable job in terms of the last 6 years. Otherwise, you know, if I didn't think I was doing a reasonable job, I'd be the first one to say it's time for someone else. But I believe that I have, you know, the abilities to be able to continue in the role, and I hope that I can get your support to be able to do that. Thank you.
Okay, Justin.
Yeah, kia ora. Look, for me, it's pretty simple. I'm here, I'm real, and I want to represent you, and I want to proudly represent our district. I believe that I have the ability and the tenacity to do that. 14 years of sitting around a council table representing part of our Māori community convinced me that I needed to come to the table, and that's what I did. And after 3 years of now sitting in my first term in district council, I foresaw that I needed to actually take the next step and take on the mayoralty. I'm here for the long term. I'm not here for the short term. I'm here to ensure that we can look back and know that we've done wonderful things for our community. We've made changes, and we're leaving legacies that our district can be proud of. One thing I don't ever forget is where we've come from. One thing I never thought I'd ever be doing was sitting here in front of you having this conversation. I've grown on my journey. I've seen my district grow, and I want to continue to celebrate and support our wonderful district and grow together.
Okay, thank you for that, and thank you for our candidates for participating on It's in the Ballot. It's not easy to jump in front of a camera and present yourself to the world, but you've done a brilliant job. Now, just a bit of housekeeping before you go. It's in the Ballot is an independent small non-profit organisation which is funded on small dollar donations. These events are proudly brought to you by the supporters of that. If you'd like to sit there and support It's in the Ballot, you can head to our website on itsintheballot.nz and click on donation, where you can put in a direct credit deposit into our bank account. You can also, on Eventbrite, get a ticket with Kura-hau-pō without admission, and that can give us a donation into It's in the Ballot. Or you can head to our Give a Little page and make a Give a Little donation. Or, and since we're part of the YouTube partnership program now, you can also go, and if you're watching live, you can do a super chat. And if you're watching afterwards, you can do a super thanks, and that can also help fund our It's in the Ballot shows. It's been an absolute pleasure being back in one of my adult towns of living in. And I remember when this library was being built from the pokey room next door to this, basically taking over the old supermarket. Yes, it was Woolworths. It was a very long time ago. Yes, before they went to Countdown, now they're going back to Woolworths. And yes, it's good that. And as you probably gathered, my dad and my brother are still here and will be using this to help with their voting, along with many of the good old friends of the Horowhenua. We will be taking a break tomorrow, but we'll be taking our first set of shows from Rotorua this Sunday at Motion Entertainment. So you want to sit down there and follow us up the country, feel free to do so. We'll see you on, was it Sunday?